Be the Good is all about people doing good in the world while following their passions. Good for their own souls and for others. I'm Kate Chericello, and welcome to today's episode. If you are enjoying these stories, please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean so much. You can also join our Facebook community under the group title, Be the Good with Kate Chericello. Let's spread a little more goodness in the world. Today on Be the Good with Kate, I have Joanne and Nikki, who are the co-founders of befree. It is an inclusive fashion company for people who need adaptive clothing with limited mobility, and there are a lot more than you may think who need this. So Joanne and Nikki, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You bet. Well, there is a great story behind, and just a beautiful story behind how befree came together. So I want Joanne and Nikki to tell you. So first of all, who are you both and what do you do in your own words?
So I'm Nikki Puzzo, and I am a licensed social worker. For about 10 years, I worked at Genzyme, which is a biotech company, and I worked with their patients in the clinical trials, just kind of coordinating anything to do with making sure they were comfortable during the trials and had all their needs met. I'm also a mother of two girls. I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old with cerebral palsy. That would be Stella. And I'm also the founder of a nonprofit called Stepping Stones for Stella, which was inspired by my daughter, Stella. My father created a beach buggy when we moved up to Swampscott from the city. We lived in Charlestown, Mass. And we moved to Swampscott when she was 3. And finding it nearly impossible to get Stella on and off the beach, my dad created this beach buggy for her. And it changed our lives completely. And knowing how much it changed my life and helping Stella get her down to the beach and all around, we, as a family and some close friends, created a nonprofit. So we donate beach buggies to families across the United States. We, at this time, have about 600 donated to them, 100% donated. Which has been a great program for us as a family and for other families. I am also a co-founder of befree, which is an adaptive clothing line inspired again by my daughter, Stella. She had hip surgery when she was 5, and it kind of inspired me to come up with an idea of how to dress her during surgeries that she would have to overcome throughout her life. And that's where I met Joanne, and then bring Joanne into it.
And hi, I'm Joanne and DiCamillo. I was a project manager for many, many years in the financial services and healthcare industries, up until my daughter, Mia, was born, who is 15. And then I transitioned to become a freelance production artist so that I could have some more flexibility and stay home. And so then Nikki and I met about 10 years ago when Chloe and Mia were in kindergarten together. And we've been great friends ever since. And throughout the years of our friendship and getting to know her and Stella, as she mentioned, Stella had a surgery that inspired us, where we realized there's this huge lack of adaptive clothing. And this was back in 2015. So back then there really was nothing about adaptive clothing on the market that you could even find. And we became so inspired that we created befree, which is a company that makes zip-ons, which are adaptive pants for children and adults. And we are so passionate about this, about making adaptive clothing mainstream. And so you don't have to search for it, you don't have to find it. It's out there like every other type of clothing on the market. And we just don't want people to worry about getting dressed or struggle to get dressed. We want to take that worry away and solve that problem for people.
Incredible. Now, I know the answer to the next question since I've had time to read all about it, but please, to the listeners, can you give a little more insight into what exactly adaptive clothing means and a little bit more into those details for people who aren't as familiar?
Sure. So having a daughter with cerebral palsy, she is spastic quad, so she has a lot of tone in her extremities. So getting her dressed can be really challenging, and having her dress herself can be challenging. So finding ways, like for us with Stella, to be able to put pants on her that becomes easier is definitely a thing that we've strived for originally. And having the zippers made it much easier for her because it was, the snaps can be hard and tactile, like, she doesn't have a lot of use of her hands in certain ways. And so finding ways that can, make her independent, but also comfortable and stylish. I think that's kind of one of the things that, we all want as individuals. And it can mean something different for everybody, to be honest with you. Some people have sensory issues where tags can be an issue, or, magnets are a good option for some people. Like there's a wide variety right now, luckily in the market, that's starting to come out that addresses that need.
Wow. And the word independent you said there, and that's so huge, because that I can only imagine like just how frustrating that is, both for the person going through it and also for the caretakers, of just that constant having to rely on somebody else just to get dressed, which so many of us don't even think twice about in the morning. So, exactly. Wow, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about the journey to going from, this is the need, we see the need, we want to do something about it. How do we actually go from the drawings or however you started with creating the pants to we're making it and it's a whole company now?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, as Nikki mentioned, Stella had surgery when she was 5, and she had both of her legs in casts with a bar in between to set her hips in place. So you can imagine that a typical pair of pants, there's no way you can get that on her at all. And, and Nikki asked everywhere, like, what clothing is out there? What can I get? And it just didn't exist. So she went,
So I made her a pair. I basically went and bought her pajamas, and I took the outer seam apart. So our pants unzip now completely on the outer seam. But at the time I had taken the outer seam apart and just sewed Velcro. So I could literally open the pant up and sit Stella in them and then close the pant around her. And for Stella, it was a huge game changer because she has so much anxiety. So she can't even look at a Band-Aid without getting stressed out. So to have casts on her legs for 3 months was devastating. So I just had to come up with a solution, and I did. And then Joanne and she would come over and see them, and I'm like, can you believe this isn't an option for anybody? And then that's where we really started to talk more about it and how we can make this change for people, And so why don't you tell how we kind of prototyped and did all that?
Yeah. So we realized like such a simple design change, pants that open on the outside, right, could change people's lives and make such a huge difference. So after we realized like this is what we need to do, we started thinking, okay, well, let's make these. And, just different trials and things, we realized, okay, so maybe Velcro isn't the way to go. We switched from Velcro and went to snap tapes. Yeah. Like snap tape would be like in a onesie, typical, like how you would close that. And that was great, but it was also cumbersome, so we were like, this isn't really where we want to be. So then we went back and thought some more, and we settled on zippers because zippers are so quick, easy on, easy off. They look good. And we're like, okay, I think we're onto something now. We're really good. So we made some prototypes, made a bunch of samples. We sent them out to anyone that we knew, friends or anyone that we could heard of that, would be in the condition to try them out. And the feedback was just incredible. So then we knew that we really had to move forward with this thing. And so we met with a medical director at Mass General Hospital, and we had her take a look at our prototypes and our pants. And she gave us such invaluable feedback that they were great. The functionality was amazing, but you had to insulate and cover the zippers completely, because anyone who was paralyzed or didn't have feeling in their lower extremities might not know that it was irritating to the skin. It could cause an infection. So we had to go back and say, okay, we're going to redesign them one more time. And we're going to cover that zipper from the top to bottom so that you can't feel it in any way. And that was a bit of a challenge, but we did. We figured out how to do it. And so we did another small production run. And again, to get more feedback and to see where we wanted to go with that. And again, it was always been so positive that we knew we were going in the right direction. And at this point, we said, okay, now we're going to make them look good. We have them working good. We're going to make them look good. And we had just started on another redesign to sort of change the look. And this was about like January, February, March, when COVID hit. So we had just started to redesign them. We had just started to order materials for an order, and we were just stalled for probably just about 2 years because that order that we started delivered this past March. So though we started this so long ago, all these years that we've been working on it, our product, which is now our product that we're so happy with, delivered in March, and we launched a website to market it and sell it this past March. So it's been a while.
The long game.
So happy that where we are now.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. And I mean, I still can't get my head around how there was nothing out there like this before. So just amazing that you said, we're not going to take it anymore. We're doing something about it. And you kept at it and you kept at it. And now you have an entire company. That's amazing. So going with that, what are some good news moments of people that have worn the pants or maybe in your own lives that you'd like to share?
Oh, wow. Well, so we've had a lot, honestly, but one of the first ones, I think, and it was so inspiring to us was when we were still just prototyping and making samples. There was a mom that Nikki had connected with on a Facebook group whose son had a surgery similar to Stella's. And he was recovering with casts on both his legs, and he just wouldn't leave the house. He refused to leave the house. And it was a couple weeks before Christmas. And we were like, well, okay, we need to send him pants because maybe, who knows, maybe it'll help. And oh my God, did they help? So she wrote to us and said that the next day after he got them, they went to a Christmas party, and she was just, it couldn't, I mean, I don't know. It just changed their whole outlook. It changed their lives dramatically, and it changed everything for him. Yeah. So way back then when we were just like, I don't know, should we, and whatever, we were like, oh my God, absolutely. We have to continue. We have to do this thing. And our customers are just amazing. So in the last few months since we've launched our new product, we've had a few customers that have ordered multiple pairs, and then a few days or a week later order another multiple pairs, and then a few days or a week later order another multiple pairs, and we're so curious on our end, wondering like, wow, well, that's great. But then they always write to us and they say like, I just have to write to tell you how amazing these pants have been. Like, and they both had children who had a surgery, and that they were, it just changed everything for them, that's all they wanted to wear at that point. It made their life that much better and that much easier that they bought that many pairs so that they could wear them all the time. And not only that, then they would write back to us and say, well, you know what? Can you send me some of your flyers? Because we want to promote you. Like, you helped us so much. We want other people to know that these are out there and what they can do for you, because they made such a huge difference to us. So that's just been amazing to us. And not only for kids, also we have an adult line as well. So we have customers and a couple
the first
in particular.
pair for my dad.
Actually,
my dad had surgery, and that was the first adult pair that we made for him. Right.
I know, right? And right, but even right there, right? Your mom, I think, claimed my mom might have saved their marriage.
So he was your go-to model, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Are there any quotes, mantras, sayings that you found, Joanne and Nikki, to help you through the challenging times, to help you maybe with Stella along the way, or anything you'd like to share there?
Yeah, for me, well, Stella was born early, so she spent about 2 months in the NICU. And we knew early on that she was going to have some disabilities. We didn't know at the time exactly what it was going to look like. And I'm a big fan of Bob Marley, and one of my favorite songs, is Three Little Birds. And I used to sing it to her and say, every little thing is going to be all right. And that's my go-to. Cry even saying it, but that's my go-to.
And I love something so simple, just be kind. And it's sort of like the idea of our pants is something so small that can make such a huge difference. So can be kind. Something so simple and so small can just make a huge change. And, we see it all the time. And so what we're talking about is getting dressed, which you mentioned, Kate, like early on, is so many people take that for granted. You don't even think twice about it. You get dressed, you change multiple times during the day without giving it a thought. And for millions of people, that is such a daily hardship, such a struggle. So you just never know, what other people go through and how hard their day might be. So if nothing else, just be kind, just always. And it can, and we've seen it, how it can just change a situation. It can change an attitude. It can make somebody from being frustrated and mad go to feeling like accepted and understood and heard. And it can make someone feel good. It can just do all the good. So anyway, always be kind.
Absolutely. And it doesn't take that much, right? Just give somebody a smile at the very least. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. If someone came to you and asked how to make a difference, I want to do something, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, what would you tell them?
Well, I think for first, I would say, find something that you're passionate about, that connects with you, because I think we all, do or react better when it's something you emotionally are tied to or have a relationship with or connect with personally. And once you find that, I'd say go for it. I'm like, start talking to people, do your research, see, what's out there. And I said, don't give up on yourself. Every idea is a great idea. And if it solves a problem, that's definitely something, that we find, like, even with the beach buggies and the pants, like we were solving a problem, we were solving a need, but it also connected personally to us, which ultimately will make it successful. If you're emotionally tied to something and you have a passion around it, you will be successful with it.
Buggy line and the nonprofit Stepping Stone, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to share about that aspect? Because that's a section that I didn't realize coming into this today that you were working on.
Well, so that started in 2013 when we first moved up to Swampscott. We lived in the city, and my dad, who is a retired engineer, basically would come up and visit us, and he'd see me struggling with getting on and off the beach with Stella. And I have Chloe, who at the time was 5.5. So she was all over the place, and carrying your gear, and I had Stella, who was 3, and a Bjorn. And he just came up with this pediatric beach buggy, and it's strictly for children 2 to 11 years old. And we were down at the beach one day, and my husband and I probably had 4 or 5 families come up to us asking us where we got it. And I was blown away. And I said to my husband, I'm like, I can't be the only one that has this, knowing that how much it's helping us. I just needed to pay it forward. So I went back to my dad and I told him, and he was just kind of like, all right, well, let me know, like, do your research, see what's out there. And my dad made the first 120 buggies out of his garage. They're all 100% donated to families. So we do fundraisers, and currently we have over 600 donated. We do have a website, and we do, different events throughout the year. We've been stalled because of COVID. Manufacturing's been hard, obviously, like everybody else. But we hope to be back up probably in 2023, being able to manufacture them again.
Oh, very cool. Excellent. So tell me where we can follow befree, where we can follow you both. Any of the links you'd like to share, they'll be in the show notes as well.
Sure. So we have a website. It's befreeco.com. And we also are on Instagram as Befree Adaptive. And you can find us both on there, and you can shop, and you can see our pants. And we are working on other clothing items as well. Again, COVID kind of shut us down for a while. We had so many ideas that we're just now getting to. But we have a pair of leggings in the works and shirts. And so hopefully soon we'll have like a whole line of adaptive apparel, not just pants.
Excellent. Well, I cannot wait to see how, where you keep growing. This is incredible and such a need. And I really appreciate for the episode too, that it's giving us all a moment to say, okay, what else am I taking for granted, each day? And just to be reminded of, there's so much need out there, and there's always a way that you can be kinder, or that you can fill that need, which is what you two are doing. And that is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for your time and sharing this today.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for listening to Be the Good with Kate Chericello. Whether you're listening on YouTube or via podcast, it would mean the world if you liked, subscribed, and or left a review. You heard about the good? Now go out and be the good in your life this week. If you have stories of good news that need to be shared, please send me a message. Thanks again, and have a great week.